All right, welcome, ZASLOW Show 2.0. It is a Thursday, the 18th of May. Good to have you aboard. We are a Blue Wire podcast, presented as always by our title sponsor from day number one, Anidjar and Levine Accident Attorneys, 800-747-FREE. If you're in an accident, if you're dealing with a personal injury, I send you to the best. If you're listening to this show right now, you're practically family, and Anidjar and Levine, they take care of you as if you're their family as well. That's their approach, and they make sure you get the money that you deserve. Call 911 first, then get an attorney on the phone immediately. Anidjar and Levine, Accident Attorneys, 800-747-FREE. That's 800-747-3733. Wow. Last night, we start this 2-week stretch that we've never had before in the history of South Florida sports, and it couldn't have gotten off to a better start. Last night, the Heat take that ass in Boston, a 7-point win and a 1-0 series lead over the Boston Celtics. That's what we're all talking about. Now tonight, can the Panthers do their part? Game one for your favorite little hockey team is on deck tonight at 8 p.m. But obviously, we'll be spending the entire show today talking about the Miami Heat and their dismantling in the second half of the very arrogant. That was an arrogant performance by the Boston Celtics last night. A dismantling of the very arrogant Boston Celtics. So, the Heat last night, and I wonder if you experienced this the same way that I did, okay? So, the Heat get down by, 12, 13 points in the middle of the second quarter. And I'm like, all right, I'm not going to tell you that I knew they were going to win the whole game. No, that's not how I felt. But I will tell you, there was never a moment in the game where I was panicked, where I thought that we were in trouble. I don't mean in trouble like, again, I'm not saying I never thought we were in trouble as if we're definitely still going to win. But I meant we're going to be right there in the fourth quarter. Just keep the game close, and we like our horses in the fourth quarter. Just keep the game close. I'm not telling you that I felt that, okay, we're definitely going to have this massive third quarter and we're going to be ahead the whole fourth quarter. No, but there was never a part of me that thought the game was going to get away from them. Even when they were down by 13 late in the second quarter. The game was never going to get away from them. No matter who they're playing, the game is not going to get away from them. We're right there. Just keep the game within striking distance. Now, the first few minutes of the third quarter, in a game like that, especially on the road, the first few minutes of that third quarter are always huge. The Heat are down 9, and this is going to go one of two directions. Either the Celtics are to come out, score, say, like the first 5 points, or, you go on a 7-2 run to start the third quarter, and now all of a sudden, the Heat are playing from 14 down in the second half. Or it goes the other way, which was 7 straight Miami points to start the third quarter. What was it? It was, a Bam free throw, a Max Strus 3, I believe, and that Kevin Love transition 3. 7 straight points there. Boom. Before you know it, 2-point game all of a sudden. It's going to go one of two directions. That's why those first few baskets of the third quarter are so enormous and set the tone for the entire second half. And the Celtics came out in that second half with a very, very arrogant performance. Very arrogant. And what I mean by that, obviously, is, the Celtics, they came out in that second half like the game was already won. Oh, we're up by 9 on our home floor. Even though the Celtics are not a good home playoff team. Go look up the numbers. There's something like 8-9 in their last 17 home playoff games. And by the way, the Heat, go back to last season, last playoff, Eastern Conference Finals. The Heat won games 4 and 6 in Boston. 2-1 last year in Boston in the playoffs. Now this year, another win so far. So the last 2 postseasons, the Heat are 3-1 in Boston in the postseason. We don't care about playing in Boston. That building means nothing to us. We don't care. That they may as well be. These games may as well be in Charlotte. It may as well be in Detroit. It doesn't matter. We don't care about that building. It means nothing to us. 3-1 now, these last 2 postseasons at TD Garden in Boston. That's our building. So the Celtics in the second half, they come out with a very arrogant attitude as if they already won that game. And you look at their record at home in the playoffs, just like I told you. Look at, and even just last round, they lost game 1 at home. They lost game 5 at home. It's terrible. Go back to the first round. They had a chance to close out Atlanta in 5 games. They lost game 5 at home. They have to go 6 games against the Hawks. The Celtics have to go 7 games against that Philly team. They have to go 7 games against. You come out with that attitude in the third quarter, a very arrogant attitude, you're going to get smoked playing against the Heat. And that's what happened. We smoked them and took that ass in the second half. We don't care about playing in Boston. That building means nothing to us. And I told you, I like this anytime a good Heat team. Now, I'm not saying, when the Heat are like, the Heat are not a regular 8 seed. We're way past that. But when the Heat are like a regular 7 seed or a regular 8 seed, you'd rather have the home games. But when you're a good Heat team, I love starting the series on the road. I'm always confident in the Heat being able to get a game on the road. Can the Heat win 1 out of the first 2 games? Against anyone. I'm very confident of that. And right off the bat, you steal the home court advantage. Now, it's not like the New York series where the Heat are winning games 3 and 4 and then potentially game 6 in Miami. They're not losing at home to the Knicks. It's not like that against the Celtics. Celtics, we know, win road games. We've seen it against us. They did it game 7 in our building last year. But automatically, off the bat, you steal the home court advantage. You've now set the tone the entire series. We're not to be fucked with. Yeah, that's what you just did by winning that game. Now you get the bonus game, but that's what you just did by winning game 1. You set the tone the entire series, and now you got a bonus game 2. Now, the Heat have not been able to take that bonus game yet, right? They've won game 1 on the road each series so far this playoff. They did it in Milwaukee, then they got killed in game 2. Did not take advantage of that opportunity. Did it in New York game 1. Then game 2, no Jimmy, and they had the chance. They couldn't capitalize. Well, this will be the toughest one yet. They have another chance now to take both on the road. It's going to be incredibly hard, but you already accomplished what you needed to do. And that was now, I'm not saying you got that human nature thing. That's not what this Heat team's about. That human nature thing is when, all right, we already did what we're supposed to do. Let's try, but then if it gets out of hand, we'll pack it up, we'll go home and take care of business at home. That's human nature. That happens. I don't believe that takes place with this Heat team. But still, winning both games to start out the series in Boston, insanely difficult. But you have that opportunity now. You got that chance. And my favorite part of the game, and you saw this throughout the game, like Jimmy Butler rarely shows emotion, except, you're having a 56-point game at home, the crowd's behind you, against Milwaukee, coming from 14 down in the fourth quarter. This is my shit. All right, you're getting the emotion there. But otherwise, Jimmy's a taking care of business kind of guy. And last night, the entire second half, the entire fourth quarter, that was a taking care of business effort from Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler became just the 3rd player in NBA playoff history to record multiple 35, 5, and 5 games and multiple steals. I forget what the number was. The other 2 players on that list, Michael Jordan, Allen Iverson, end of list. Michael Jordan did it 7 times. Allen Iverson did it twice. Jimmy Butler has now done it twice. That's the list. That's the end of the list. 3 guys. My favorite part of the game is after the game. And that their NBA on TNT, the sideline reporter, she's interviewing Jimmy Butler on the floor. He is completely unimpressed with all of it. Just completely unimpressed with winning this game. Because he is out there expecting to win every single game, no matter who they're playing, no matter what building it is. Especially that building, which does not faze this team. That's my favorite part of the game. I mean, I'm watching, I'm like, I love you so much, Jimmy. You're my dog. He is completely unimpressed with what just took place. See you on Saturday. About to do it again. Nothing to celebrate. Not even close yet. I love it, man. I love it. So the Heat do exactly what they're supposed to do. And like I said, I'm not going to tell you that I was sitting there on the ZASLOW Mansion family room couch watching with my son Corey. I'm not going to sit here and tell you I knew the whole time they were going to win. Not true. Knew it was going to be very tough. But there was never a moment where I thought we were in trouble. There was never a moment that I didn't think we were going to be right there in the fourth quarter. And what do you know? We were up the whole fourth quarter. Okay, we got to give credit to a bunch of guys. I told you starting this series, Bam Adebayo, I think this is a redemption series for Bam Adebayo. He was not good. He was a ton of criticism he took last year. He was not good in the series against Boston. He had a great game 7, but Rob Williams ate his lunch money night in and night out that series. Bam, if he's the player we saw for most of this regular season, if he was that guy in that postseason series last year, the Heat win the Eastern Conference Championship. He's got a chance now to redeem himself, and he got off to a great start. 20 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists, 9 of 13 from the floor. Make your free throws, Bam. He missed 3 out of 5. Make your free throws. But Bam was terrific last night. And you notice there are pockets in the game. You know, it was a lot of Jimmy in the first quarter. It was a lot of Kyle Lowry in the second quarter. It was a lot of Max Strus in the third quarter. And then you're back to a lot of Jimmy in the fourth quarter. They got different guys who do it all throughout the game. The Celtics, they got a huge first half performance from Rob Williams, but the Celtics, they're not winning games if Jason Tatum is not huge. They're not. They totally go like Jason Tatum goes. And the Heat get different guys. Look, you had 6 guys in double figures, all of them with at least 15 points last night. 2 of those guys, Martin and Lowry, coming off the bench. Kyle Lowry, what a performance yesterday. Kyle Lowry looks like a completely different player than he was in the regular season. This version of Kyle Lowry, we could all get behind. I hate regular season Kyle Lowry. The most unlikable Heat player I've ever watched. Postseason Kyle Lowry has been very good. Very good. Lowry kept him in the game in the first half. He did. If not for that first, I think did he have all 15 in the first half? He might have. If Lowry didn't have that performance in the first half, we're not down 9 at halftime. We're down 20. Jimmy defensively, sensational. Max Strus was great defensively last night and had that huge third quarter. An all-around terrific effort from a team that expects to win every single game. And, you know, there was the stretch in the fourth quarter where, all right, we're up by 12 going into the fourth. Celtics 7-0 run, leads down to 5 now. But with like 5 minutes left, we got like 3 or 4 consecutive stops. And it was all during that stretch with Jason Tatum totally throwing up all over himself. Tatum throws the ball away to Jimmy Butler. One of Jimmy Butler, I think several steals in the fourth quarter. Tatum with the travel at the basket. Obvious travel. Tatum with the travel on the second chance opportunity where he left his feet. He wants to complain. Hey, Jason, go look at the tape. Both feet left the ground. Easy call. Terrible performance in the fourth quarter with the turnovers for Jason Tatum. Terrible. No way around it. And during that stretch, so it's a 5-point lead, 6-point lead, whatever it was, and the Heat could not take advantage. It was Martin missed 3. Strus missed 3. Bam missed floater. And it's like, God damn. Like, this is the stretch right here where if we could have scored once or twice off of those 3 turnovers, we're talking a 7 or a 9-point lead instead of just a 5-point lead. And then you had a huge 3 from Caleb Martin, I think it was, in the corner. Jimmy does his thing, a couple jumpers. And then, so the shot clock is winding down. It's about a minute 15 left in the game, minute 17 left in the game. Jimmy catches the ball, a pass near the backcourt. He's going to have to chuck up a long 3. At this point, it was 117, 110. I'm already standing. You know I'm standing right in front of the TV. And I say to my son, dagger. Go for the dagger, Jimmy.
Happened to the Celtics. Adebayo mashing his way into Horford. Shot clock at 3. Butler with Brogdon on him. It's a long 3. And good! Oh, Jimmy frickin' Butler puts it in! Woo! Oh, my.
That's right. Jimmy frickin' Butler. What a call there. Kevin Harlan, Stan Van Gundy, Reggie Miller, NBA on TNT. They have the whole series. A dagger from Jimmy Butler. And I turn to my son, and I told him, I go, he's like these other teams, he's the boogeyman. He really is. Jimmy Butler is the boogeyman. He just won't go away. He's incredible. I told you, he's top 2 Miami Heat player all time. Not second best player. You understand what I'm saying. Top 2 Miami Heat player all time. The dagger from Jimmy. That put him up by 10. We all know they go on to win 123-116. Let me give you some of Kyle Lowry here post-game as well. NBA on TNT studio crew, they're live in the building. Here's Kyle Lowry, who, by the way, never does local media. Absolutely never. The radio, the television, radio talk shows. He barely talks to the media in the Heat locker room. Lowry does no media, no local media. National media, it is something that bothers me about Lowry. He is not, he has no interest in ingratiating himself with the community, the city, none of that. Never does anything local. But he's here sitting on set with the guys after the game.
Are you and the rest of your teammates of what's been said going into this about Las Vegas odds and on and on and on and your team basically an afterthought? Kyle, that's not disrespect. That's just the perception from all these. Well, these guys have this chance of winning the championship. Miami's got this. How aware are you of that, and what kind of fuel does that add?
I think we're aware of it, but we don't care. And that's just how we've been operating, this whole playoff run. I know we're an eighth seed, but we're not the typical 8th seed. We really don't care. We go out here and we do our jobs, and we're prepared. Coach prepares us, the players prepare ourselves, and we get shots up, and we just work. That's the one thing about our culture is we just work no matter what.
Love it. I mean, they expect to win every game they play. They don't care about that building in particular. They don't care what anyone thinks about them. And that's why I've been telling you guys, the 3%, and no one's it's not a 3% chance to win. It's based on the analytics. They have a 3% chance. But we all get hung up on these people's opinions. Monica McNutt, I told you the other day, who doesn't have a clue about the Heat. I heard her, by the way, on television this morning. She thinks the head coach of the Heat's name is Spoelstra. Stop listening to these people. Stop caring what these people say. They don't watch the Heat. They don't know anything. Stop listening to them. And Kyle Lowry tells you right there, they hear the things that are said, and they don't care. You shouldn't care either. Real quick, I want to tell you guys before we continue on. The weather was historically bad here in South Florida last month. The rain, the flooding, that's a big deal. If you think that your home or your business may have been damaged from all the flooding we had recently, you got to call my guys, the Greensteins. Childhood friends with over 60 years of experience. Water Cleanup of Florida is available for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Water Cleanup of Florida, they understand the impact and stress an unexpected disaster may cause. Make sure you use local contractors like these guys, not fly-by companies out of state. Floodwater, it produces mold within days if you're not careful. You got to take care of it properly. You and your neighbor, you may say, oh, let's just sweep out the water from the front of our house. We'll turn some ceiling fans on. We'll be good to go. Nah, that's going to be a really big deal. Call or text Water Cleanup of Florida anytime. 954-900-8635 or go to WCUFL.com. That's 954-900-8635. Water Cleanup of Florida. We clean up your schmutz. All right. Great night, man. And yeah, like I was super excited at the end of the night, but it was my attitude was more like I was taking care of business game. That's what that was. It's early in the series. It's still going to be a long series. That was a taking care of business type of effort. And I love Jimmy's attitude after the game. Totally unimpressed. Yeah, all right. See you Saturday. Can do it again. That was an arrogant effort from the Celtics. That was a Celtic team who came out in the second half. Yeah, we're up by 9 at home. We got them. Okay. I saw the headline on First Take this morning. Are the Celtics in trouble after game 1? Well, they're in trouble because they're playing a team that thinks they're going to beat them. They're playing a team that does not care about you, does not care who you are, does not care you may have more talent, does not care about your building. So they're playing a team that can beat them again. So in that respect, yeah, they're in trouble. But are they in trouble after game 1, like, the series in trouble? No. The Celtics can totally win in our building. Totally. But yeah, in general, they're in trouble because the Heat can win this series. And they just showed you and everybody else. Tatum was awful late. Yeah, you give credit to the Heat defense. Tatum's getting crushed today, all right? But the Heat defense, Jimmy, Bam, Max Strus, terrific. Imagine, and Joe Mazzulla, Tatum's getting crushed today. Mazzulla's getting crushed today. The Heat outscored the Celtics 46-25. He didn't call a single timeout. Just the charged TV timeout. Did not call a single timeout. And that's been an issue of contention with him, the media, the fans, all season long. He does not call timeouts. So he's getting crushed today. He's asked about it after the game. He's super contentious with the media because how could anyone question 34-year-old first-year head coach who has done absolutely nothing? How could you question Joe Mazzulla? So Mazzulla's getting crushed. And I got to tell you, imagine being Joe Mazzulla and thinking, what's one of the things we're going to do this game? What's one of the adjustments I'm going to make? How I'm going to stop Jimmy Butler? And he's definitely not going to laugh and go to the basket and shoot over him every single time. Imagine being Joe Mazzulla and thinking, I'm going to play Peyton Pritchard, who never plays. I'm going to play Peyton Pritchard. I'm going to have him guard Jimmy Butler. I'm going to play Peyton Pritchard on Jimmy Butler after never using him in the Eastern Conference Finals. Imagine that's a strategy that Joe Mazzulla thought, we're going to do this. Woo! Woo! How bright were Jimmy Butler's eyes every time Peyton Pritchard was on him in that game? The fact that he was in the game and on Jimmy Butler, you gotta be kidding me. That's a joke. And we're doing the thing again, right? Joe Mazzulla mentioned this after the game. I don't know if the rest of the Celtic media is doing this again because it was a major thing last year. But we're doing that thing again, right? Where Joe Mazzulla says, we won 3 out of the 4 quarters. Get the hell out of here. You gotta be kidding me. Who the hell they did this all of last year. It's a completely arbitrary thing. The game is 48 minutes. They break it up into 12-minute quarters so you can have a break, rest for a couple of minutes, put in some commercials, have a sip of water. Let's get back out there. The quarters mean nothing. It doesn't mean anything. It's a completely arbitrary stoppage. It doesn't mean anything. We won 3 out of 4 quarters. Who the hell cares? It literally means nothing. I can't believe we're doing that again. I hope it continues. That's a clown answer. Clown answer, Joe. Great night. Great way to start things off last night. And now it's the Panthers' turn. Great way to get everything going last night. And I'm super happy, but let's everybody calm down. Long series, man. Eastern Conference Finals. Been here before. Act like you've been there before. I'm acting like I've been here before. Act like you've been here before. Long series. Game at a time. See you tomorrow night. Yep. Awesome. Awesome start. We're going to talk to ESPN's Dave Pasch coming up in a few minutes here. He's got the call every game on ESPN Radio alongside Doris Burke. He obviously had the call last night. We'll get in touch with him from out there in Boston. So Dave Pasch will join us coming up, of course, on the Johnny Cuba guest line. Before we get to the Panthers here, give you a little bit on the Panthers before they get back in action tonight. I've been telling you about the best insurance agency in all of Florida was most recently named by Progressive. Number 5 in the entire country. Number 1 overall in Florida. You know I'm talking about Brunt Insurance. BruntInsurance.com, 954-589-2204. There's a reason why I've been using Greg Brunt and his team at Brunt Insurance for 10 years now. And there's a reason why they're being rated number 1 in all of Florida and number 5 overall in the entire country. That's why I stay with them. I'm getting the affordable price. I'm getting exactly the coverage I need for my home. And anytime I got questions or I need some help, I get him on the phone immediately. I want to talk to the man himself. 954-589-2204. You can't do this all on your own. The market's confusing. Let Brunt Insurance sort it all out for you. Fully licensed staff, and wherever you're calling from in Florida, Pensacola to the Keys and beyond, Brunt Insurance is delivering you comprehensive insurance tailored exactly to your needs. They'll tell you exactly what you need depending on what type of home you have. You need renters, you need condo insurance. It's all good. BruntInsurance.com, 954-589-2204. So tonight, you got the Panthers looking to capitalize on what the Heat just did. I mean, can we get game 1s on the road in both series? Come on. Let's go. Panthers a little bit of a rest leading into tonight. Haven't had that so far this postseason because you went from game 7, obviously. Very quick turnaround. You got to start in Toronto 2 days later. So got a little bit of a rest here against what's going to be a super difficult challenge in Carolina, who plays a very similar style defensively as the Panthers. And that building, by the way, in Carolina and Raleigh has been a house of horrors for the Panthers forever. So I'm super worried about this series, but also I'm very confident. This Panther team has, an opportunity we have not had in 27 years. I'm incredibly excited about tonight with the Panthers. 8 o'clock start, not 8:30 like yesterday. So that was the hardest thing with yesterday. It wasn't that it's an 8:30 start, it's late. It's not that it was late. It's that I get done with dinner, and I'm just like waiting around for 2 hours for the game to start, you know? It was the waiting. So the waiting drove me mad. So 8 o'clock, much better tonight. But I'm very confident in Bobrovsky right now. This is like how you felt about Van Beesbrook the last time they were in this situation. You know you have a goalie who could stand on his head if he needs to. So, now look, Matthew Tkachuk is super due. He had 5 goals the first series against Boston, no goals last round against Toronto. Sasha Barkov, also super due. I think he's got just the 1 goal so far this postseason. He's super due. I think that's a good sign going into tonight. This is different from watching the Heat last night because, like the Heat game, I'm confident the whole time. We're going to be right there in the fourth quarter. But with the Panthers, anything can happen any minute of the 60 minutes that can impact the end of the game. Like for the Heat, a shot in the second quarter was not going to impact the finish in the fourth. Totally different game. We're talking Stanley Cup playoffs. The entire 60 minutes is anxiety. So get ready for tonight. Hopefully we're all going to be sleeping well. You know I'm sleeping on my sheets and Giggles. I got my comforter. I got my sheets. Last week I was sick. I had to move downstairs into the game room. I didn't want to get my wife sick. The only thing that kept me, sleeping sound, because I'm sleeping on the sofa bed downstairs in the game room. I had my Sheets and Giggles sheets. Sheetsgiggles.com. By the way, yesterday, of course, I was hat-shamed by Juju Gotti on the Levitard show. If you go to Sheets and Giggles right now and you use the promo code NICEHAT, you're going to get the discount at checkout. That's right. Use the promo code NICEHAT. Sheets and Giggles, all right? Sheetsgiggles.com. Just like the ZASLOW family, you'll be one of over 100,000 Americans who are sleeping on Sheets and Giggles naturally. Softer, cooler, more breathable sheets. I got that eucalyptus pillow. You get a eucalyptus mattress if you want. Comforter, my all-time favorite comforter. My man Colin, founder and CEO of Sheets and Giggles, huge Miami sports fan. So, you know you're supporting the right company. But nonetheless, he's helping you sleep and he's keeping the environment in a good place, all right? Sheets and Giggles, use promo code NICEHAT. I threw it away. Use promo code NICEHAT. You'll get that discount. Sheets and Giggles, sheetsgiggles.com.